The drive is where you get to lay down all the power possible to make the system of boat and rower move. But as a famous tire company once cleverly told us, all the power in the world means nothing if you do not have the ability to control it. Understanding how much force to use and at which phase during the drive to use it will make the most effective use of your physiology, the boat and the blades, as well as the nature of water. Hey, this is Infinite Rowing, and in rowing, the drive is where all of your speed comes from. The rest of the stroke is vital, but it is only there to maintain as much of this speed as possible and to prepare for the next drive. In this preparation, you should have placed the blade in the water, establish connection, and be in a strong position before you put any pressure on the footplate. Your pelvis should be rocked forward so that the weight is on the front of your seat. You should have low shoulders and you should be hanging on the oar handles. Irrespective of how well you row, the system of boat and rower are going to be moving at their slowest just after the placement and at their fastest at the end of the drive. The slow will depend on how well you've executed the draw and the placement, and if you haven't checked out our other videos, please do. But the fast will depend on what happens next. Let's look at the drive through the lens of the three elements within rowing: the water, the boat, and the rower. All three point in the same direction in terms of sequencing through the drive in order to apply force in the most effective way. Water, being a fluid, behaves in a fluid way, so moving through it requires progressive acceleration. We all know what happens when you try to get water to move out of the way a little bit too fast. In terms of the boat, or more accurately the oars, just after the placement, which is done at about 70 degrees, the blades are at their highest in terms of dynamic gearing.
Yeah.
We will do a separate video on gearing, but suffice it to say the blades move their least in terms of the direction of travel at this point than they do at any other during the drive, so the load is at its heaviest. When it comes to the rower, our muscles are at their weakest as they approach maximum compression, which is the case at the beginning of the drive. So if you combine a system moving at its slowest, water at its most resistant, gearing at its highest, and muscles at their weakest, I'm sure you can see that brutalizing the front end is a very inefficient use of your energy. As a rough guide, considering your catch angle is about double that of your finish angle, it's clear that you'll be passing perpendicular roughly 2/3 of the way through your drive, and it is here where we want our peak acceleration to take place. These things considered, how do we then go about applying the finite amounts of power that we have so that we get the best results? There is a lot of debate around sequencing and rowing styles and the shape of the optimum force curve, and this is all relevant, but it's also dependent on whether you're a 2-meter tall Olympian or a 65-year-old masters athlete, or whether you row a single or you're in the engine room of a competitive 8. The nuances aside, fundamentally, we believe in progressive acceleration through the drive with a maximum force being applied just before the perpendicular. A good way to think of this is imagine you are pushing your kid on a swing and they want to go as high as possible. Establishing connection needs to be done carefully as you gather up the movement of the swing. You need to give yourself as much time to apply force as possible, so connect as close to your maximum reach as you can. Your hands need to initially match the speed of the moving swing. Once you start applying force, if you do so too quickly, you'll probably unseat your child, and if you do so too late, they won't end up going very high. Using the slower and stronger movement of your bigger muscles to build momentum and overlapping with the swing of your arms and the flick of your wrists lets you build up force delicately through the smooth application of consistent acceleration, and this will give you the best results. How do we achieve this acceleration in rowing? Firstly, we need to progressively accelerate each of the primary movements, being your leg squeeze, your body swing, and your arms. But secondly, you're able to overlap these movements so that the forces multiply. If they are executed separately, you can only achieve consistent velocity. If combined, the forces add together to achieve acceleration. Just like in the example of the swing, it is vital that you use the biggest and slowest muscles of your legs to start the movement, but you can only do this once you have activated your core to ensure that you hold your upper body in position. It's true that most of the power that you will generate during the drive will come from your legs, opening this angle. But if you have ever rowed legs only, you will know that this only translates into real power in combination with your body swing. Opening this angle against the force of this angle. It will vary depending on your physiology, but once you have planted your heels and your leg squeeze is underway, you can start leaning on the oar handles and pivot your upper body around your hip joint. As a cue, think about using your upper body swing to converge your hands into the crossover. Once your upper body has passed vertical, you can conclude with the arms to pull outwards on the oar handles. The arms are a small contributor to the total force applied, but considering the momentum already generated during the drive, a crisp outward arm pull keeps that momentum going a little bit longer. The drive really is a push and a lean rather than a pull. Try this exercise. Cues to trigger the next phase of sequencing. Roll your heels down until you feel your foot planted on the foot plate. Use your body swing to converge your hands into the crossover. Pass vertical with the upper body before you conclude with the arms. You have now accelerated the system of boat and rower as much as you can for this stroke. It is now time to let go of the water and sequence through the recovery so that you can prepare for the next drive and add more speed to the system. But that's the subject for another video.